I think to set the stage, so to speak, I was raised in attended Adventist school up through the ninth grade, at which time I entered public high school. And, kind of as the story goes for some of those that walk away from the church or start pursuing their own interests, I began spending a lot of time in the mountains, fishing, and eventually what came with that was a lot of quite a bit of drinking now that I look back on it. And sometimes I was with friends and sometimes I was by myself. But what started impacting me was I started a job with Macy's department stores, doing their plainclothes security. And I received a commission through the police department, the Spokane County Sheriff's Department. And that allowed us to actually read people their Miranda rights, place them under arrest, and charge them criminally. As time went on, the job, we had a very hands-on approach. So once we approached someone, they were coming back with us one way or another. And if they fought, then we fought back. And I did very well in that world. I knew what to look for, all the behaviors to watch for. And I did well enough that they started sending me to training and on the west side of the state, Portland, and then on the self-defense side, they started sending me down to Union Square, San Francisco to train their store security team. Down there it was very large. They had 40 members of their security team, and they had a canine unit. And I excelled in the world of violence, to be quite upfront. I was very good at fighting, and that's what I'd go down there to do. Just work with their guys and teach them how to control a situation, and if need be, hurt people. That's what it comes down to. Eventually I worked for, they started kind of coming at me, trying to get me to come over to their stores because they were having a lot of trouble. And so I went ahead and did that. And they hired me to work in their Browns Edition location and their East Sprague location. And for all of you that have been in Spokane a while, you know that those are not necessarily the best locations in the city. I had an arrest of a guy that shut down a couple streets downtown that got incredibly violent. And I just see all these different situations I was involved in where clearly God was keeping me safe. And due to some choices in my personal life, I'm fortunate God was looking out for me. The one individual that I got in an altercation with, he ended up going to prison for 8 years due to what happened. And then after that, where I really started having a big change was at Rosars. I arrested an individual, and again, it turned violent. I was able to finally get handcuffs on him. He was bleeding, I was bleeding. It was a mess. And when I get him up and I'm looking, he's wearing a leather cut. He was a 1%er biker gang member. And when I run his name through dispatch, I have a member of Spokane Police Department show up, a member of gang enforcement showed up, and then a member of the FBI showed up and let me know that I just arrested the enforcer for the local Banditos chapter. And they told me to expect retaliation. And I kind of, throughout this time, I was already kind of wondering, where am I going? This isn't fun anymore. I've got kids. I'm taking guns off of people. People are trying to slash me with knives. And I started praying a lot out in the parking lot at night. That God would give me an opportunity to start working in a job that would open the door to church again. And he opened that door almost 5 years ago with the Idaho Department of Correction, Felony Probation and Parole. And what I do now is I reinvestigate crimes people are getting ready to be sentenced for. I talk to victims, witnesses, and the actual defendant, the perpetrator of the crime. And I write a report and recommend a sentence. And in doing this, it's not nearly as violent anymore, at least for me. I see these people and they're just broken, absolutely shattered. And it's not just the victims I'm speaking about. The people are getting ready to go to prison. I mean, all I can tell you is if I would have experienced some of the things that they have been through in their life, I could very well be on their side, having committed the crimes that they've committed. And it was just getting very dark, and I started praying to Jesus and asking him to find a way to use me in that job because my heart started to harden again. I started to be very negative, and I just prayed that Jesus would start using me to say whatever words he wanted these people to hear, to have them leave my office instead of feeling impending doom from the court system, leave my office feeling like there's hope. And he started doing that. And ultimately, as a result of that, I receive Christmas cards now, letters of thanks, and phone calls from people updating me on how they're doing. Granted, it's few and far between. We get a lot of repeat fellows, men and women. However, I feel like God's using me where I'm at. And with that job, it opened the door for me to come back to church again. And I've found that getting my kids plugged in, getting myself plugged in, we really enjoy coming to church. And part of where I'm at now is being thankful for all of you. You all have welcomed us with open arms, and we feel like we're part of the church family. And we love it. We thank you for it.